Good day to everyone listening to me. My name is Mr. Emmanuel Aneke. I'm once again standing here to speak about Africa. Here we are the People's Movement for African Unity. We are an organization that has received a divine mandate to build a new Africa with a political federation. Our activities will be kicking off from January 2020 in Johannesburg, South Africa, and from there we shall spread across the continent. We have been making video messages and posting on YouTube and other social media to make the public aware of the organization and its plans of action. And we are making this particular video message to enlighten you about how the Federal Government of Africa will be established by or before the year 2025. The title of this message is Composing the Federal Government of Africa. In our quest to achieve this mission, our activities will not be subject to governmental control. This means that we don't depend on Government of Africa to bring about the mission. But working outside of the government does not mean that those in government, present or past, are excluded from participation. No, they are not excluded. They are Africans. It is a collective responsibility for everyone, home and abroad. But it simply means that we do not depend on government protocols or governmental laws or waiting for government permissions. We are starting a new Africa from scratch, and that new Africa has to take its shape on its own, independent of governmental protocols. Many centuries ago, the divine word had put a plan in place that there will be a time when Africa will be restored back to prominence, and that time has come. It started immediately after the Second World War, and in 1957, when the first nation got their independence in the place of Ghana. And from that level, 1957, all government of Africa that was working from there till now are working under interim periods. And they are called, in the spiritual world, the caretaker government. They are caretaker because their period is not the ultimate period that God has prepared for the future of Africa and its people. We will make another video message to explain about that in details. In our quest to compose the Federal Government of Africa, as our activities develops, we will convene what will be called the Council of African Elders. That Council of African Elders will later be transformed into the Supreme Authority of Africa. And the members of the Council of African Elders, the choosing members are 1. Kenneth Kaunda, Zambia. Dr. Sam Nujoma, Namibia. Retired Flight Lieutenant John J. Rawlings, Ghana. Mr. Laurent Gbagbo, Ivory Coast. Mr. Abdou Diouf, Senegal. Mr. Alpha Omar Konare, Mali. Mr. Abdoulaye Wade, Senegal. Mr. José Eduardo dos Santos, Angola. Mr. Jacob Zuma, South Africa. Mr. Paul Kagame, Rwanda. Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, Nigeria. And finally, Mr. Thabo Mbeki, South Africa. This Council of African Elders shall be temporarily headed by Dr. Kenneth Kaunda or any other person from among the 12. But later, Thabo Mbeki shall be installed as its effective leader, with Olusegun Obasanjo as his deputy. This supreme authority shall be followed by the administrative authority at its second tier. The administrative authority shall be responsible for the day-to-day administration of the Federation, with its members as follows. Mr. Emeka Anyoko, Nigeria. Mr. John Kufuor, Ghana. Mr. Joaquin Chissano, Mozambique. Mr. Joseph Kabila, Democratic Republic of Congo. Mr. Denis Sassou Nguesso, Republic of Congo Brazzaville. Mr. Yoweri Museveni, Uganda. Mr. Goodluck Jonathan, Nigeria. Mr. Benjamin Mkapa, Tanzania. Mr. Mulatu Teshome, Ethiopia. Mr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, Zimbabwe. Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, Kenya. Mr. Felix Tshisekedi, Democratic Republic of Congo. Mr. Louis Farrakhan, United States of America. Mr. Omar Johnson, Jamaica. Mr. Will Smith, United States of America. Mr. Serese Iyankama, Botswana, Mrs. Arikana Chiambo Rikao, Zimbabwe, Mrs. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, South Africa, Mrs. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Nigeria, and finally Mrs. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, Liberia, and many others that will be included as time develops. From the members of this administrative authority shall persons be choosing to replace any member of the supreme authority in case of death or retirement. It is interesting to let you know once again that the African unity and its political federation is a divine plan put in place centuries ago. This is evidence in the spiritual revelations given to me about Thabo Mbeki and Olusegun Obasanjo, which stretches nearly 2,800 years ago in ancient Egypt. I know most of you will be surprised when I say 2,800 years ago, but it is interesting to let you know that human life evolves around reincarnation. We come into the world and go back and keep coming again for different but diverse missions. This is part of our human evolution, and it is a knowledge known by the ancients that human being is a soul personality and is immortal. So when I talk about 2,700 or 800 years ago, it stretches from ancient Egypt. It was a special relationship between Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Thabo Mbeki, and Olusegun Obasanjo that started in ancient Egypt. This was revealed to me. And when the time is right, we will call for a conference and give this explanation. It is a special explanation from which people will understand why Thabo Mbeki and Obasanjo will be strongly part of the new African Federation. And when I speak about divine mandate in uniting Africa, some people will want to know more about it. But what I can say is that nobody on earth understands the divine purposes in details. Nobody knows completely the revelation that is being given from the divine world. Yet, we have to live with it. Not even Prophet Moses understood the tradition he was giving to the children of Israel. And after nearly 3,700 years, the people of Israel are still struggling to understand the Bible in full details. This also goes to Prophet Isaiah, when he was prophesying about many things in ancient Israel. The people of Israel thought that he was having a special secret that he does not want to divulge to them. But he did not know that the words Isaiah was speaking was not his own word. It was inspired. He himself did not know everything in details. This also goes to Prophet Muhammad of Arabia. He did not understand in details the traditions and philosophies he was laying to the Arabian world. Yet they had to live with it because it is made to be. Wise men like Pharaoh Akhenaten of Egypt, Buddha, Confucius, and Zoroaster did not know in details the philosophies and traditions they were giving to their followers. Yet they conveyed the messages and people are living with it. This goes to all great avatars through whom enlightenment was brought to the world. Yet all had to convey the messages to the best of their ability, and the positive effects of their messages has remained in the world till now. This goes on in our own case. So when I speak about divine mandate, please do not expect me to come and give you details because I don't know. I'm only here to convey a message as appropriately as possible. And when we are given a command to unite Africa using a specific method or in a certain way, we have to obey that very command, just like other great people of the world obey their own. We have to carry it out and obtain the best results, not to question or try to do. Nobody tells you. And one interesting thing with the spiritual world is that they will never ever impose a situation that a people do not need. They have sat down, they know the predicament of the black people in Africa. They know that unity is what we needed most and everything else. And that very unity is not something that began now. It has been resounding in our mind for generations up till now. Most of us have died for it. But time has come that we have been given a revelation about how to bring it about. And we will be successful. All of us, not just one person. It's a collective responsibility and we will be fine. African unity will stand and we shall be a very powerful continent once again. We are calling on all Africans from all corners of the world to come and let's put our efforts together to make this a reality. And should any African leader or personalities mentioned above want to see us before we convene the meeting of the Council of African Elders, and the administrative authority, he or she is free to contact us for more clarity, except Thabo Mbeki and Olusegun Obasanjo, whom we will see at an especially appointed time. Fellow Africans, it is time to work hard to obtain this glory. Our situation now is like when a people is given a very huge container that can take up to 5 million liters of water. We are given and say, fill that very container using a teaspoon. You know what it means to fill a container of 5 million liters with a teaspoon. It is not a responsibility that one person can take. This means that we all have to put great effort. And one of the conditions is that the more the container is getting full, the higher the blessings will follow it. So we really need to work hard. We need to work hard, even if we don't fill the the container as fast as possible. We have to do our best to put sufficient water so that the blessing will be strong. We will be taking initiatives aimed at satisfying this allegory of container. African unity with its federal government has been signed and accepted by the Supreme God and handed to our ancestors in the spiritual world, who have in turn delegated to us with the power to carry it out, and all possibilities of actualizing it has been revealed. We just have to implement them one step at a time. We all know that according to natural laws, every problem is growing with its solution, and it is a matter of time before the solution takes over and usher in a new era of greater beginning. Africa for many centuries has been balkanized by foreign forces, and we all acknowledge that unity is the only solution. Now that unity has come as the solution to take over from the old system, we are going for it, and we will be successful. We once again let you know that the federal government of Africa will stand by or before the year 2025. In modern history, Africans have not built a government. All governments we live with were composed and imposed on us against our will, and they all have been working at our detriment. Now it is time to build a government of our own, a government that reflects the aspiration of the people, a government in which we have total control. And that very government will be powerful. It's not just going to be an ordinary federal government. It's going to be an empire federation that will remain extremely powerful, strong to carry out strong responsibilities across the world. And from now, never, never, and never again shall Africa be subjected to humiliations. And never, never, never again shall the black race be subjected to killings, to wars and miseries. That time is over in history. Believe you me, it is decreed and it is going to stand. We are therefore calling on government and non-governmental organizations and institutions across Africa and across the world to support us in our endeavors. We further call on presidents of all African nations and the world, government ministers, diplomatic representatives, state governors and provincial governors, city managers, traditional leaders, religious leaders, military officers, police officers, academics and philosophers, journalists and writers, captains of industries, community leaders, businessmen and businesswomen to support us and be in a friendly relationship with the People's Movement for African Unity in our quest to build a new Africa. Please stay in touch with our YouTube page titled People's Movement for African Unity for some other of our videos so that you will understand us better. I thank you all and may God bless you all.